Whoa, what's going on, Evan?
Hey,
Hey, man, it's
Here
the
we are.
Patriot Business Alliance. We are live with you once again. It must be Wednesday, folks. Hump day. Just want to say hi to everybody. Thank you for tuning in every Wednesday to kind of listen to us discuss business related topics, share our wins with you guys, our experience, our strengths, our hopes, our mishaps. So we just want to give a big thanks that you guys continue to show up, listen, and continue to spread your love with us. But as we do every Wednesday, we like to, express the wins that we've had over the last week. No matter how big, no matter how small, no matter how insignificant we may think they are,
they're big.
it's important that we recognize those
Every win's big.
the wins.
You're
right?
here, right?
You're
You don't
here.
want to be here. It's leg day. Go anyway.
Exactly. So speaking of leg day, KC, what's going on with leg day and your win?
Hey, so my personal win is showing up, right? Showing up, being here this week. Last week, I wasn't here for the first time in a long, long time. And it wasn't because of, I was out doing something fun. I was grinding, I was hustling, I was working. I had to dive in. And I also did something that was a big win is I listened to our broadcast. So here we are on the eve of the ice storm. And it was literally like a transporter back to March of 2020, where, we're at home doing the broadcast. And there were so many times when you would say something or Jeff would say something, and I've got it in my earbud, and I'm like, hey, wait a minute, I got to jump in on that. And oh yeah, I'm just listening to the recording. So that was a cool to actually listen back to the whole thing, to be given an opportunity by this great team of you, Jeff, Evan, Ben, to focus, laser focus on my business for a night and really, move the dial. So that was a personal win. Business win here on leg day, on winning on Wednesday, was that we got a little kudos, a little word of mouth kudos from somebody in Kuwait.
Oh, interesting.
Right. And it's like, hey man, I heard about the quality of your business, word of mouth.
Wow.
In Kuwait. Now, whether it's from the reach of this show or that business or your business or Jeff's business or Evan's, right, or Katie and Tara out in Florida, however it got there, right? You got to remember that the most important billboard there is right now is in your hand. It's in your doggone hand, right? It's on a person who's about to road rage you, right? It's because they can't get on their Snapchat, right? They're on that billboard 25/8, not 24/7, 25/8. So, right, break through obscurity, dominate this billboard. That's my
man. I love that. I mean that you've reached your international.
You know what I mean? Hey, think about it that way.
Dude is international, world star, prestige worldwide.
Right, worldwide,
okay.
right.
You know what I mean? That's big, huge congrats on that. But correct me if I'm wrong, you can't practice along Kuwait.
No, well, it's a Texas matter.
Oh, good.
But
they're in Kuwait.
They're in Kuwait.
Because Texas is that bad, folks, that they had to flee Texas. Shit was about to get real for them. We won't go any further into this case. Evan, what's going on with you, brother?
Yeah.
Thank you for filling in. Our infamous counterpart, Jeff Black Level Skinner. He's out there doing it in Parker County today, taking care of one of his clients. And so that's important. Those are big wins that we are able to lean on each other so that when we're able to serve our clients, create avenues for our business as it begins to grow, we got to be able to still make the Patriot Business Alliance continue to strive. And that's where we hold that word alliance so true. But Evan, what you got going on for them wins? I've been seeing you around a lot on the social media game.
I'm trying. Yeah, I appreciate that. I'll start with business win because it's actually made a post about it today. It's the most fresh on my mind, but I like how, Casey mentioned earlier, even the small wins are still big wins. Like I had my logo put up on the wall yesterday and, just a vinyl decal is super awesome experience. ApeWorks, they did a great job. But it was just like seeing that reality, like that idea that became something actionable that now has something tangible. I can look over and see my business name and the logo on my studio space on my wall. So to me, that's, it's a small thing. It's, it's nothing massive, and it probably doesn't excite many other people beyond myself. But to me, it's like something that I believed in enough to take that leap, to jump into this full time, to do this, and really bring my family along with me on this journey. Just seeing those little markers of just, not that it's validation, but it's just reminder that, hey, this is real, this is tangible. So that's the big business win. And then like from a personal perspective, just like the past couple of weeks, I've met some really awesome people and just developed some really great relationships. And every day it seems like I'm coming home, like to my wife, like, babe, you won't believe what happened. I had like the best meeting with this person. Just being able to be in a network of such incredible people and develop those really just lasting relationships has been just a huge personal win for me.
Relationships are key. Relationships are key. If you're chasing anything else in business that is not destined to build a relationship, a long-term relationship, then the business is probably going to be short-lived. Because without those referrals, without those relationships, without the word of mouth, without the, know, like, and trust factors, we're spinning our wheels in the dirt.
You're not going to get to prestige worldwide.
You will not. And I want to go hang out with Will Ferrell. Like, I'm just be real honest. So wins for myself, I took a personal win. I took a little surprise trip down to I went international.
You did?
Yep. Went international, went down, hung out on the beach for my wife's birthday. She turned 20 times 2, so that's pretty cool. And another huge win on the business side was I hired a leadership company, brand new company. The gentleman's fresh retired from the Navy. He talked about his what his company was and what he wants to do, and I was like, you know what, I love giving people opportunities, and I personally want to be assessed to know where I'm good, bad, and different. Working, how do my peers view me? How do my coworkers view me? And so I hired this gentleman, and I finally got the report back, and it was refreshing. Right. Like I was extremely nervous, just because it's like that report card, you studied, you did the homework, you did the work, you're doing the right thing and all these other, things that we practice and what we preach, but you're still nervous.
Yeah.
You still want to know the grade. You know what I mean? And there were some eye-opening moments where there were some serious gaps inside of my company right now. One is I'm still wearing too many hats. Right. 2, that I really need to get clear and actually produce certain items, tangibles for my workers. So when I do have this training program, I need to make sure that no matter what person walks through the door and begins to work with me, it's identical. It's rinse or repeat. It's identical. The process is the same. The system's the same. Yes, will there be variables along the way? Sure. But I need to provide them with a roadmap so that they can have the same success. So he really was able to pull a lot of information from that's in here and actually put it down on paper. And so that's one of my biggest, I say, character defects or flaws as a business owner, is not putting this down here often enough.
Making it a process so you can rinse, repeat.
And I blame college. I mean, I wrote so many papers and and in the medical field, I can make any freaking excuse I want in the world. But the fact remains is I don't do it. But I have to do it if I really want to attain the vision that I wrote down on paper, right? If I really want to hit that 10 million, 5 million, 50 million, 30 million, $100,000 goal, or provide that 20-year anniversary renewing of the vows, it's going to be a pretty price tag, right? So all of these things that I want, I need to sacrifice today in order to be able to get it down the road. So congrats on all of our wins. If you have some wins,
hey audience, yes, please share. Yeah, absolutely. We want to
let us know.
We want to hear about it.
Hell, I'll even pop on this Face Fun book and see what's going on.
Whoa.
Who's that handsome guy?
Who's that guy?
Whoa, we got two people. How are y'all doing? I'm just going to set it up. That way our audience
Let's see.
can at least get some feedback from us. So tonight we're talking about extreme ownership, and kind of what we want to dive into is owning your shit, right?
Sorry, Keith.
Recognizing when you make a mistake, how you pivot with that mistake, and then trying not to repeat that again, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be a mistake. This is all about owning what you chose to do, owning the words that came out of your mouth. I was talking to a really good friend of mine, a mentor of mine, and we got into this discussion of the words that come out of our mouth become real, right? And I'll give you an example. When Evan was speaking about saying, I want to open up a company, name it Maximize Media, he spoke that into existence. Then he had somebody design his logo and put it on a wall, which made it real, right? So he was thoughtfully saying the words out loud. So when we speak things, we speak those into existence. And so we have to be really conscious about the words that come out of our mouth, because it always falls on somebody's ears a different way.
It really does. And I'm a person who believes in writing your goals down every day, because I'm a student of Napoleon Hill. And I believe that many people have put that brilliant thought that Doc just talked about into the universe, but maybe not so poignantly and so resoundingly as Napoleon Hill. Think and Grow Rich. Here you are, the height of the doggone depression, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know the reason why you see all those black and white pictures and everybody's wearing a suit? I had a teacher who grew up in the Depression. He told me this. He said, you always wore a suit because they only cost a couple of pennies, and that way no one knew you were poor.
Oh,
That's why you wore a suit. That's why everybody in those black and white pictures are always in the 3-piece, because it was like 3 cents. Bread cost 10 cents. A suit cost 3. Wow. Just think about that. Okay. But the bottom line is, right, here you are at the height of the Depression, and you believe that your business system will change the world. And part of the belief that you're trying to sell in your business system, this is Napoleon Hill, you're going to change the world. You are going to write your goals daily, and you are going to speak them into existence. And these goals must be tied to moral, honorable desires, right? That this is right out of the book. And I'm just paraphrasing, right? I will be a millionaire because I will trade in useful service more than $1 million of value to the clients that I will serve. And he said that to himself every day, and he was a millionaire in less than a decade.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Right? You speak it, you write it, you do it, right? And so that's why you got to watch the negative self-talk, right? You know, when you're talking, you say, I'm such a bonehead, man. Maybe you are. I'm a knucklehead. Or maybe your drill instructor told you that that's what you were. And there was a time that maybe that applied, right? You know, I mean, because let's face it, you know, to get kids who are, 18, 19, you know, their only prospective draft pick is a probation officer, not a college football recruiter, right? So, you know, when you're talking about those kids, you're going to hand a dewatering pump and put on a boat that's on fire. Right. Hey, we'll be right back. Hey, what could go wrong? You take this 100-pound pump, go over there. Yeah, we'll be back for you in about 10 minutes. Hope you get that out. Okay. You got a life jacket. You'll be fine.
Have a good time.
Yeah, have fun. Right. You know, hey, Doc, have we got something for you, buddy? Hey, we're going to put you on a tin can with what'd you have to give those soldiers? You had to give them some
smallpox,
right? Yeah, I'm gonna have a 19-year-old kid manage a smallpox outbreak on a ship,
which we did. Because we told them, don't do this,
that, and the other.
And what did they do? Them devil dogs out there did that. They did that.
They did it. Anyhow, you had to manage, you know, a smallpox outbreak on a tin can on your way to Afghanistan. You know, I mean, but, you know, these are
How did you even know that story?
Yeah, you've told me that.
Gosh, who told you that?
Anyway, what
Laws of Success.
That's
where it came from. You know what I mean? Owning your mistakes,
owning it,
speaking your thought into existence,
right? Putting your maximized media on the wall,
Mhm.
right? Like this, right here, right? The Patriot Business Alliance will have 1 million subscribers, and we will trade in useful information.
That's right.
Right. Far in excess of whatever the cost of being part of this alliance ever might be. That's something I speak into existence, right?
And I do it and it can work. So what are some examples of that you can come across, Evan, in your time? I mean, what you're going on like 24 hours of being a business owner?
Basically, yeah.
Is that where we're at still?
A month and a half, I think.
Month and a half.
and a
Yeah.
half.
It's all
Some guy can't get his LLC squared away.
Yeah.
He's hired this rhymes with KC. They think that's how that joke goes. Right?
Yeah, it's a guy that I won't say his name, but it rhymes with KC.
That's it.
That guy.
That dude. Were you spoken something into, be it that it worked better for worse, but you owned what you spoke.
Yeah.
You said that this and this was going to be done, and then now you're being held accountable, and you almost like over promised and over delivered, and then you freaking underbid the job. Right. I mean, I've been there, and that's a huge mishap.
Yeah. No, it happens. And I think like, even like you said, being early on, I think part of it to me, you mentioned the accountability aspect of it. Like as soon as you declare that, as soon as I say I'm going to do this or be here, there's just like a level of like ownership to that I feel I have, because I've said it, so I have to make it happen, or I am now expected to be somewhere doing something. So kind of in the perspective of business, it's like you can only talk about what you want to do so long. And I've kind of adopted that mentality of like, don't tell me, show me.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I kind of like for many months rolled up my sleeves and just kept my head down and took care of stuff, because being the sole provider for my family, I can't just leave a full-time job and step into something and hope that it works. So kind of saying that like, no, I will make this happen. I will do this, whatever it takes. That's kind of like phase one of it. And then everything after that, whenever I sit across from someone who, you know, we diagnose what they need as a business and how marketing and how content can accomplish that, it's like, okay, those are the nuts and bolts of it. And now behind all that, I have to deliver on what I've declared to them we can do. And it's like, no matter how many hours, no matter how many late nights or all-nighters I have to pull to make it happen, I've given them that commitment. And it's always a goal of mine to go above and beyond, to over-deliver. I want everyone to feel like they've gotten the better end of the exchange every time. And I know it's kind of like, that's a big, broad, maybe umbrella focus of it, but it's even so granular to say like, I'm going to be there at 6 o'clock. Well, I've declared that. There's expectation of me to be there at 6. I'm gonna be there at 5:45 just to make sure. And I think if that is the mentality that kind of follows interactions, commitments, and everything in between, that it kind of like it's your guiding compass for almost like who you can be to each person that you're with. So,
wow, I love that, man. Your guiding compass.
That's pretty deep, Evan.
That's,
you should keep that in your pocket.
maybe.
Now I'm all,
that's really
I
good.
don't have nothing to come back with.
You know, compasses are important, right?
It's a
you know,
tool.
they're important when you're at sea, right? You know, I mean, that's how we started learning as a species how to navigate, right? The stars, and then we figured out there's these things called magnets, and if you float them in a bowl, they'll point north.
Is that how a watch is made too?
No, we already went over how that was made.
But staying on course, and then, you know, speaking your course into existence, right? Speaking your goal, your mission into, and then the little micro steps, right? And that's going to get us back to our topic about leadership at every level, right? So how do you take the big maximized media? I got my vinyl up on the wall to being a multi-business owner, right? To being in business 10 years, to being in business 8 years, to being in business 5 years. And that is done through speaking into existence these little microcosms, right? That these little compass course things that matter, right? They matter. I'm going to be here, even though I could do other stuff. It's beautiful spring day. It's about to be spring break. Everybody's got spring fever after the last 2 ice storms in February. It'd be a great night to just sit on the patio and have a cigar, put the campfire on, hang out with the fam, whatever it is, right? Heat up the jacuzzi, put some steaks on the grill, shrimp on the barbie, wherever you are, right? But what instead, right, you have spoken this mission into the universe, and you're going to speak these little course steps, right? Like I'll be here at 5:45, and then actually you're here at 5:30, right? You're staying on course. Leadership at every step,
at every level. And I'd like to kind of expand on that. And leadership, when I first started my first company, I believe I was about 30 years old, 28, 29 years old. And I didn't know how to be a leader to myself. Right. So when we talk about leadership at every level, I needed leadership at an infancy level. Right. Even though I did spend time in the military, even though I understood their leadership qualities, I wasn't ready to lead me. Right. Because there's some real honest reflections that you have to have with yourself in order to even enter a level of leadership. Right. And then once I began to feel the foundation of honesty, of who I am, of what my purpose was, of what the goals and drives were, then you could in turn go to different levels of those leaderships. Right. Now I am capable of bringing on another person.
Yeah.
And saying, hey, this is what this is what we do. This is how we do it. This is why we do it. And if you think I'm not telling you the truth,
right,
this is my daily routine. You see me every day doing the exact same thing. Right. That's that leadership at that next level. So if inside the company, we're continuously having mistakes, communication breakdown, or we're not hitting our monthly, quarterly, weekly goals, calls, knocks, whatever the metrics that your company has implemented, I had to evaluate what level was my leadership capability at. Right. And you can use it in a ranking system, just like you would on a video game, in the military, in the police, however you want to freaking use a ranking system. But if you're at level 0, if you don't know shit.
Yeah.
There. I mean, that's just blanket knowledge. And once and I can be 14 years in the business, but still be a level 3 leader.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I never grew up mentally. I never took the action steps behind all of the books that I read. I didn't take the action steps behind the suggestions my mentor gave to me. You know what I mean? So you can really become complacent on what type of leader that you get stuck at. And so that's kind of where I went with that, the different levels or leadership at every level. How do you understand where you're at and then own it? Be honest with you. You're like, well, shit, man, I'm not doing something correctly. I'm not effectively doing it. And you're in that infancy stage. Yeah. You are essentially still the leader. I mean, you said, so you still have your wife, you still have your children, you still have your house payment, you still have your electric bill, blah, 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 blah. All the daily life did not stop.
Yeah.
Right. So you still have to lead that. But what type of leader are you today? And what type of leader are you developing and becoming tomorrow? Right. And you nailed it. He's the type of leader that stayed up till 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to make sure that he over delivered, and he still woke up at 5 a.m. to be there at 5:45. So that's him leveling it up as that leader, because that's his expectations he's going to have when you hire somebody.
Yeah,
for sure.
Right. So
I think
looking forward to that, huh?
Oh, it's a terrifying step that our guy Jeff gave me some insight, and this is kind of runs parallel to kind of what you mentioned here. And I'll come back to, there's something really big that I think you pointed out, but Jeff had mentioned, like, establish your core values before we ever bring anybody on. And I think what you're saying is absolutely true. If you're still in that phase of, like, you've got to develop you as a leader, how can you have expectations beyond yourself if you're not the one doing it first and demonstrating it? And then something else I like, you mentioned before, you had someone from the outside come in and evaluate you, and what a mark of maturity. I think we can be prideful creatures and think that we've gotten this far by being great, and we're going to continue to push through. We're not perfect, but we're still going to get it done. But being able to step back, and I've heard it put, like, to stare, to just stare at your inadequacies and your flaws, and looking bare at them, like, that's a that's a difficult thing, but only after that point can you embrace them. Can you adjust? Can you change? Can you progress? Because if we're just naive to think that, oh, we don't have those flaws or those things that can be improved upon, then we're limited to where we are now. So I think that like you're demonstrating that. I've seen it. I've seen the people that you work alongside you that work a lot like you because they see it displayed. And I've also seen that kind of collectively, like as an alliance, the people they're attracted to that because you can see it from a mile away. And yeah, I think that those are huge. And I hope to be able to implement those now when it is just me, so that it becomes routine and it becomes just second nature, and it can be kind of recognized and kind of distributed out that way.
And you'd rather learn how to become an effective leader, and you want to learn how to become honest with yourself as quickly as possible.
You know what?
Like it just is.
Doing self-assessment is great. And I have tremendous respect for the outside looking in assessment. Like, we're going to peel back the onion. You're going to open up the lid of the trash can.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get the milk out of the fridge. God, dang, throw that out. Right.
Yeah.
You know, and that is, you know, that takes some guts, right? That takes, you know, you're bearing your soul. Yeah. You're paying a stranger.
It's vulnerable
to come in and critique your sorry butt. Right. And not just you, right, but your people, the way you interact.
Yeah.
Right. And if we haven't been clear about it, one of the things that this team loves is self-improvement. We're here every day, every week, because we want to be better than yesterday. And in the middle of all that hustle and all that grind, you know, still had time to go to the gym, right? Do the actual leg day, get on the machine, row for an hour, take some continuing education, get your equipment dialed in, whatever it takes, right? Doing whatever it takes to be better every day. But one of the things it does take is being brutally honest with yourself. That's part of what, you know, our authors in this book that's inspired this part of our content, right? Being brutally honest with yourself about your performance and the way you interact with your team members. And man, props to you, Doc, for doing that. That's getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? For sure.
I love it. Because I'll tell you what, folks, when I start getting comfortable, like I get uncomfortable.
Like you start getting your coast,
like,
you know you're coasting.
Something's coming. Shit, yeah. What's happening? Oh, got my mom calling. Anyways, hey mom, I should have brought her on, but we're having some bad times. I won't say anything, but she knows I'll call her.
We love you, Mom.
I want to read something. We need to find a way to combine leadership training, our structure, and our mentorship to get consistent, predictable, and improved results. So one of the words that really sticks out to me in that sentence is predictability. Okay. And when you own your own shit, right? When you make that mistake and you own what you've done and you've taken extreme ownership of it, now we can begin to predict the future. Right?
Yeah, because you become a master. It's like anything else, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like anything else. When you are so focused on self-improvement, there's no more guesswork.
That's
you
right.
know exactly where you are in any situation, right? You know where you are in that deal. Why do you know where you are in that deal? Because you put in the goddamn work. Sorry, Keith. # sorry, Keith. That's going to be on a shirt.
But consistent, right? Because predictable,
and how? What's the definition of consistent? Putting in the goddamn work, right?
Every time.
Now, how do you get consistent, predictable, improved result? Putting in the darn what?
Put in the work.
Right? It's the only 4-letter word that my kinfolk in East Texas don't know.
Really?
Work.
Oh, I thought it was due. I thought it was due. They can only halfway read. Sorry, my jokes get a little bit obtrusive. I apologize up front.
That's a big word.
Yes. Sorry.
Hold on. Let's look that one. Let's Google that. What does the Oracle got to say about it?
Some people probably have a real hard time reading me. Like, is he smart or is he a dumbass? Because The way he speaks sometimes really leaves.
The
it's
world will
misleading.
never know.
We won't tell nobody
We're not going to say
So-
nothing to nobodies.
ever. So we also oftentimes. Do you ever want to pass the blame onto somebody else? I used to be that guy.
I think we all did.
I used to be that guy where
It's not me.
shit hit the fan, and you kind of just like swept the dirt underneath the rug, and was like, I don't know, you know what I mean? But everybody knows, because you got that, you know what I mean? Like you wear it, you know what I mean?
You wear
You
it.
kind of wear it that you messed up, but you just what are some of those reasons why we don't want to own that? I know it's humility, and probably you might get fired.
There's
That was
immaturity
mine.
too.
Well, mine was immature, and that's
Immaturity.
That's why I did it.
Right. Immaturity. And then there's, another lesson that I'm struggling with all the time. And that my mentors helped me work through. And that is, and I'm going to quote him, right? It's mankind's gluttonous need to be right.
Oh, for sure.
It's good.
Right.
It's good.
Right. I am not wrong here. Well, yeah, the fuck you are. Right. Right.
Sorry, Keith.
Yeah, sorry, Keith.
Say for the louder for the people in the back, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you are, right? You've got to get past this
Blame game.
this need to be right. You must.
This victim mentality.
Man, that's really what it comes down to, right? Is that it's not my fault. I have bad luck. It's this, that, and the other.
It's contagious.
The people that I know who say that they have no luck but bad luck have bad luck all the time, man. It's like a whirlwind of chaos.
If I went for bad luck, I'd have no luck at all.
And I think it, again, right? If you're speaking it, then you're acting it, and then it comes into existence.
I tell people I'm the luckiest guy ever.
Yeah.
And it happens. You can talk to Aaron. He's like, dude, you got to be the luckiest guy ever. And I'm like, I am. Aaron, say it out loud. Michael's the luckiest guy ever. Right. And I keep doing it. But I used to not want to own my mistakes. Yeah. I used to not want to.
I think we all struggle with that.
I used to not want to be looked at as a failure. So I would kind of skirt the books, right? Because I'm the only guy running the company, so it looks good. So if you take your bank statement and you times it by 3 and you manipulate, you know what I mean? You make yourself look good because, well, I spent the money over there for this reason. That's why I don't have as much as I do because I try to make a sound investment, right? And you fluff all this stuff only to lie to yourself. Because, folks, I'm going to be honest with you. Everybody around you already knows you're lying. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Like we can only fake the funk for so long because I'm not a scripture quoter by any means, but there's something along the lines that says the light will be shined in the darkness and all will be revealed. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so when I continue to lie to me, it just seemed like this damn light keeps getting brighter and brighter and brighter. And I think we may have a problem over here because it's getting brighter. I'm kidding.
It's just attracted to.
It's just attracted to that honesty. So have you been down that road yet where there's some blame game or maybe when you were working with the church in the tech field and the letters were misspelled on the screen? It's happened. Has that happened?
Yeah. I think like I can recognize a lot of things because when I was younger, young and dumb and naive, like everything is always everyone else's fault. And I didn't realize until now in the back end of it in my ripe old age that
he's like 26 now.
24. I'm 31. So I'm old enough to be here. So I recognized like after I got older that like I would much rather just like as quickly as possible get to that level of ownership, get to that level of learning from that, and get to the level of improvement that's on the other side of it. Because as long as you declare someone else at fault, you're a victim of it, like you said, but you're also helpless. Mm-hmm. I know we mentioned it a few weeks ago, but you're offloading the responsibility to someone else. So you can't make any change. But I love what you pointed out of just like it's a perspective thing of like you're talking about you're the luckiest man alive. Like if that's truly your perception of all things, like how fortunate, how blessed, how grateful, that's what is it? The reticular activating system. You're a smart guy, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just your brain is literally attuned to that. And that's what you recognize. So guess what? That's what's on the forefront of your mind. That's the attitude that you go about everything with. And it just kind of, it just develops into that routine. It's that consistency of being in that. And I think that when something does present itself, maybe you made a wrong choice or you did the wrong thing, or maybe just sometimes
it happens.
It just happens. And I think owning it quickly, getting to that lesson quickly, now we're better because of it. That was an opportunity for growth, as opposed to like, oh, the world's out to get me, or, Jim over there made me look bad. Like, own it, learn, get better. And that's kind of something.
Well, I want to leave you with this, Evan. You are in that first year of business, and there will be a time where the person you have to own it to, it's not only yourself, but it's your wife, right? And there's a place where I've been where I've let her down, and you have to look, right? And that was probably one of my most difficult discussions that I had, and I circumvented it, and I manipulated it, and I was conniving and baffling, right? I was just, snaking my way around, and the whole time, like she knew, you know what I mean? And so I actually put that whole entire stress on myself out of fear. I manifested this fear of how I was going to be looked at by somebody that I loved and cherished.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's when owning your shit matters the most. Like you're saying, just get in, rip the Band-Aid off, and make it happen. And it's hard if you haven't had to rip the Band-Aid off ever. Yeah. Right. If it's your first rip, like I promise you, I have hairy arms, if you put a Band-Aid on my hairy arms, like we're going to have a long talk. And then second, like I'm going to take a moment to really try to rip this off because it hurts, right?
It does.
It gets into some emotions that we don't like to feel as humans.
Yeah.
No, we don't. And, that's when that accountability mirror, right? Jeff likes to talk about that, the guy or gal looking back at you, right? That bright light that Napoleon Hill would call infinite wisdom. That was his word for God, right? A lot of people just use that as the light and the grace of God, right? Whatever it is for you on your level, doesn't really matter. You're that Jiminy Cricket, right? From the Pinocchio, right? Walking around with the pocket watch and the umbrella.
Yeah, but he would get into some things. Okay. If you got a Jiminy Cricket, you might want to tune him up.
Yeah. But what I'm getting at is, that and again, it's right in line with what, Doc, you're doing in your business, right? You're having an accountability mirror hung in your office by allowing a vendor, right? Somebody who is your client, come in and really analyze, right? Like a chief operations officer, but not part of your company, is going to come in and go, here's where your leadership is deficient. Here's where your operations are deficient. Here's where your bookkeeping is deficient. And here's where your key performance indicators, you don't even know what they are, but here's 2 more, right? And here's some KPIs that you thought you knew what they are.
So the first time I've been in business a while, and somebody asked me that about 4 years ago. They're like, hey, what's your KPI? I was like, I have no idea. I was like, I don't even know what KPI stood for.
Yeah,
I'm at that point in time in business, and I felt like a fool, right? I had to own that stuff as a business owner and what have you, and you not know like something that you should know.
Yeah, I had no idea what it was. They don't teach it in.
I was like, I don't think my truck drives that fast.
Yeah. That's exactly how I felt. I mean, completely unprepared for what is that? Have you even thought about it? It's probably as important as your core values, but you don't know what you don't know. And, these are things, and maybe that's something that we just need to dive into. Maybe that's something that we need to dive into.
Good topic.
That would be a good topic. Like, how do you figure out what the hell your KPIs are? Especially if you're in a field that has service.
Yeah, that has fluctuating variables.
Right. If you're in a service field, and then you've got to figure that out. Right. So, and it can't just be revenue, right? Revenue is not a KPI. No. It can be very, very 18-wheeler drivers make a ton of revenue. They also have a ton of expenses, which is why a lot of them go corporate, right? Because you can make, you gross $1 million, but you spend $900,000 in tolls, truck, freight, this, that, the other, preventative maintenance, the spare truck, lot lizards.
I mean, the list can go on as a truck driver. Just saying. Sorry. That's it's something different.
Is that what that says?
No, but we get what you're saying. You know what I mean? Those KPIs, key performance indicators, owning the fact that you don't even have any indicators, right?
Except your lot lizard.
Except your lot lizard count. Like, you know what I mean? And for those who don't know, don't Google it.
Don't Google it.
Don't do it.
Do not.
All right. I hope we could edit this. We can't. We're live. We are live.
Sorry,
folks.
Keith.
Sorry, Keith. We probably know
This is one of those on the job on the job deal.
And this is where we analyze lessons learned.
Yeah.
Right. This is where we really fully understand. Was Interstate 20 exit 79 a good place? Probably not. Probably not. So we'll just bypass that.
The fact that you know the exit.
I made it all up just now. I have no clue. I don't even anyhow, but analyze the lessons
Half
learned.
the viewers just left. Get some popcorn. We're going down to exit 79 on I-20. What up?
20. What's up? I was told.
I heard this was a good rest stop.
This is a tax deduction over here.
Yeah.
Entertainment.
That is not the kind of leadership training that we
Right. And so you want to you want to dissect some of these lessons, these hardships, these aches, these lumps on the head, like I think you like to call it. What do you call that? The school of hard knocks.
The most expensive school you can be in. And that's, of course, back to why we do this, right? Because we didn't even know that you needed core values.
Right.
We didn't even know that what a KPI was and how you could measure it in your own business. I was just like Doc and completely floored. And somebody asked me what the firm's KPIs were, and I felt like a bomb went off inside my head because I was like, I don't even know what that is. I gotta hold on a minute while I Google that. Right, trying to be cool, like I'm sending a text. I'm Googling KPI.
Yeah. Wait, one. Jennifer.
Yeah.
Jennifer.
Yeah, I mean, had no idea, right? Just knew that if I spoke it into existence, right, put my sticker on the wall,
it's real. It's right.
Right, it's real, and then but right, revenue can cover a lot of problems, right? And you don't know what it is that's really pushing and lifting your business, and you sure don't know what it is that's dragging you down. What Doc was alluding to earlier. When you're trying to make things work with the numbers, you're trying to make them look good because you've got a family to feed, because you've got a bank loan that you got to secure to make sure you can keep a roof over your head, whatever, right? And I'm not saying you're doing anything unethical, you're fudging numbers. That's not what this is about. But what I'm saying is that you can be deceived as to what it is that's really lifting your business. And that's when you got to get down to what Evan was talking about at that granular level. What it is, right? Is it service movement? Is it the movement on your roof jobs more than the number of roof jobs you sell? What is it that really lifts the business? That's what you got to get help to figure out. And
I got a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Because y'all are wise. Y'all are further down the road than I am. So
where'd you get that?
I read it on the way in. It was on the wall. Wise men work here. No, I feel like there's this level of like humility that is maybe a prerequisite for this, because you have to be willing to say like, what don't I know? And who can I sit at the feet of to learn this? Or where can I be open to? You're literally paying someone to come in and tell you all of the areas that you could be better at. Like, what a mark of humility. And it's that, again, demonstration of like maybe level 5 leadership, but it's, I guess the question that I'll kind of present to you guys is like, where is that balance of, because I also think confidence is required, right? Like you have to be confident in what you're delivering. Otherwise, why are you the right man for the job? Why should they choose you? And if you got into that because you have an excellence, or you have some sort of ability or skill set that not other people that don't have, like that level of confidence, that level of humility, where's that balance for you guys? And is it interchangeable, or is it always just kind of like they run parallel and you lean into whichever one that you need at which time?
I gained my confidence by humility. You know what I mean? And if you don't, it's when I made those mistakes, I went in overconfident, overzealous, and presumptuous, right? So I went in with the wrong type of confidence,
Yeah.
right? They'll fake it till you make it scenario, right? Because regardless, you got to be confident if you're going to be a thief or if you're going to not be a thief. Confidence just has to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To do,
Man.
right?
Con man. Yeah.
You do. You got to be confident to be good. You got to be confident to be bad. Otherwise, you're not going to be good at anything. So confidence. So what I hear you asking is, in order for me to gain the right type of confidence to become the right type of leader, I had to experience a significant amount of humility, right? So where when something happened in public, it didn't cause me to run and hide. Yeah. Oh no, I can't believe everybody. You know what I mean? So I can turn something crazy in public that would be disastrous for somebody, that would make them feel so embarrassed and never to be able to get out of it, to where I've learned to take that embarrassment and convert it into an opportunity.
Yeah.
Right. Because of the confidence gained from so many other past humiliating issues that I've had to face, which is a unique trait. And I don't recommend, because it takes a lot of bad choices to get that confident and being laughed at in public.
Sure.
Right. And so it was actually almost what's the word I'm looking for? It was almost a defense mechanism for me. Right. I kind of used it to my advantage, because if I could just make you laugh, then whatever I did wrong is now no longer real. Right. All I had to do is just flip it. All I had to do is change the way you looked at me really, really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I maybe just knocked every single thing off the table and made an entire mess, but y'all didn't get the idea. I was just trying to do the magic trick, right? With the tablecloth. You know what I mean? So it's all how you begin to perceive yourself, and how are you going to hold on to those those mistakes. Are you going to resent those mistakes? You're going to allow those mistakes hold you back? You're going to be that victim mentality? Or are you going to take it as a lump on the head, grow more confident, and next time it happens, it doesn't hurt as bad?
Yeah, that's
right?
good.
That's how a boxer can go 12 rounds. Who was saying that? You? First round, they get knocked out. Their face is soft. But after 15 years as a boxer, right, you can hit them with a 2x4. And it's like, okay, one more time, right? Because over time, we become thicker. We become more abrasive. We become harder. And so our confidence level goes higher. Our leadership level goes higher. We don't take no shit. We don't care. You don't want to be my friend? Bye. Right? You don't want to use me as that company? Okay, no big deal. I'm on down the road.
I'm on the next deal.
Right. But in the beginning stages, you don't really have that real confidence to be able to tell somebody to take this job and shove it. I don't need you no more. That comes from a friend named Hank. So.
When you're talking about belief and conviction, right? And humility, those things, they mean a lot to me personally. I have a definition of belief that I wrote. It's my definition, and it's something that I have in my car right there on my dashboard. I see it every time every time I get in the old Ford, boom, it's the first thing I see. And on the back is the definition, right? And it's I'm just paraphrasing here, a resounding conviction in yourself, in your goals, that goes beyond mere wishing and really is more like pure faith, right? I'll give you an example of that, right? If you've ever met somebody who people would call a religious fanatic, right? They're absolutely convicted of their belief, whatever it may be, absolutely unshakable in their belief. And that is a hard thing to do in business, because your faith in yourself as a leader, as whatever, as a salesperson, as a mentor, as a teacher, it gets shaken all the time by what?
Force of average.
The force of average. Who's outside doing push-ups?
The devil,
that
man.
Guy.
Jiminy Cricket.
Right? That is happening that deal didn't go right. They didn't want to close. They terminated me as their builder, blah, 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 blah. You can take the victim mindset or you can just, you got to be, I use a lot of sports analogies. If it drives you nuts, I apologize in advance, right? You got to be like Brett Favre, man. You're going to throw 6 picks today. You better go throw 6 touchdowns tomorrow, right?
Well, we know that ain't happening with Brett.
But it did happen, right?
Minnesota Brett?
When he was with the Jets.
No, the Jets,
right?
Brett.
He threw 6 in a game, and the next week he threw 6 touchdowns.
That's the Jets, Brett, that we all know and love.
Anyhow, what I'm getting at is you got to have a short memory, and you got to keep your conviction in yourself solid. You listen to any successful major athlete, they all went through these struggles. You listen to any successful business person, right? Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, all these people. He started a business in a garage. Kind of reminds you of a couple people, right? Started a business in a garage. You think there wasn't a whole bunch of force of average coming out? How unshakable was that belief that I'm going to take on Barnes and Noble by selling books online out of my garage at night using the post office to ship? Now they're taking on UPS. Amazon's taking on UPS. They'll be shipping Amazon worldwide, DHL, FedEx. They're all going to be nothing compared to the Amazon shipping monster. Just think about that. That was only 20 years ago. 20 years.
I'm trying not to speak it out loud because I don't want to see it.
That's
happen.
conviction. That's conviction, right? Beyond mere wishing in your belief, right? Absolute faith. That's what we're getting at. And then, of course, that goes right back to what Doc was saying, which is, right, that absolute accountability, right?
That's extreme ownership.
That bright light shines only on you. Right? Heavy lies the crown. Been saying that since we had a king in England. Why do we say that, right? Because the blame for the failure, and we don't call it failure here, we call it learning, right? But the blame for you win or you learn, right? So the wins,
and they share. The wins you share with them all.
You got to share with them all.
Because
you don't say, I did this, right? I did that. No. The team did it. But the learns, right? That school of hard knocks stuff, right? That falls on you as the leader.
It does fall on you as the leader. But I promise you, I don't let the team off the hook easily, right? Because I do believe when you win as a team, you share those team wins. I do believe if you lose as a team, you share those team losses. You know what I mean? Will the owner, the top dog, take the biggest kick in the chest? Absolutely. That's what he's designed to do. But it's not to protect the rest of the people. It's just to absorb the impact so that the rest of the impact is still felt well enough.
Absolutely.
That's jarring, that says, okay, wow, that I don't like the way that felt. Because I promise you, the leader is only going to get kicked so many times when it's really time for your team isn't really putting it up. And those people typically will read themselves out of your culture.
Right. They're not in alignment and they're
not going to fit. And so it's the process of elimination. It's Darwinism at its finest, survival of the fittest. To be an entrepreneur, to be a business owner is a survival of the fittest game.
And you also have to teach the culture of absolute ownership, right?
Yes.
Of there's no hiding from that light. That light shines on you. And you know what? It's an amazing thing to walk into Jeff calls it a tailgate meeting, or I remember our good friend, Colonel Mark Kippett, used to call it a hot wash, right? When the plane gets back down on the runway and we just go through whatever happened on that mission. And these are those moments where you do a post-mortem examination of the learn, right?
Jeez, who died?
Right?
It's called after action report.
Okay, well.
It's a post-mortem evaluation. Like, you went on a serial killing spree. Like, what just happened to my project? It died, folks, and we're going to figure out why.
Yeah, we're going to call in the ME, size this thing up for a toe tag.
Remember we talked about this, how we're prolific with our words and intentional with the words that are coming out? We'll call the morgue.
Yeah. Well, the postmort. I mean, that was just what we call it, folks.
I guess so.
Marketplace mortality
Yeah.
strikes again.
Yeah. Size that project up for a toe tag.
That's right. Coming.
But you got to do that, right?
Got
You got to
to.
do that. And when you walk into that room, and I've given y'all this example before of, I call it blame storming, right? So
Mhm.
it's like the boss is on the whiteboard and the 16 mofos around the table are all like, well, it's George's fault. No, it was Fred. Oh, no. It was everybody but frickin' them, right? And it's just a culture of not my fault. And it's really a blessing when you walk into a post-mort or a
Mhm.
after action. I like that better. We're going to start calling it that.
Thanks.
You walk into the after action meeting and everybody's like, hey, look, this is what I did. This is what I'll do better.
Yes.
Right. Because that means you're teaching that culture, right? Because there's one last takeaway from this. No, we're getting close to the top. There's no bad teams, only bad what?
Leaders.
Right. That's the big thing of these, the big global takeaway from these authors is that
Own
it
your
comes
shit.
down to your leadership. You have to own it. You have to teach that culture of ownership.
And it doesn't matter if you're leading yourself or if you're leading 1 million people.
Right. Like Evans leading himself
You know
for
what
the
I mean?
time being.
He's got to own his mistakes. He's got to own his shit. He's got to own the late nights. He's got to be yelled at by the newlywed, by the wife, the baby still in infancy stage. And I'm just making stuff. I don't really know the dynamics at your home. But here's what I do know, that when you point at people, you typically have about 3 fingers pointing back at you. So look at yourself before you start casting blame. Look at yourself as a business owner. Look at yourself as a human. And if you look at yourself in the mirror and you're proud of that person that's looking back at you, keep doing what you're doing. But if you got some self-doubt and you got some worry and you're thinking that, you're on this teeter-totter of life and you can't seem to win, figure out what you're actually speaking into the universe. What type of language are you using when you talk to other people? Are you talking negative about how your life is? Are you telling other folks, man, I can't believe it, I just can't get on top? Well, that's why you can't get on top. You said it perfectly. You keep putting shit out, you will get shit
That
in.
is, Jeff says that all the time.
Okay.
Sorry, Keith.
Okay.
Sorry, Keith. But there's a lot of truth to that.
It is. That's why I tell everybody I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I am the luckiest guy in the world. And I'll prove it. I'll walk outside after I leave this meeting and there'll be like a dollar bill on the ground. And you know what I'm saying? And it's just weird shit like that you can just randomly speak into existence and it'll happen. My wife has seen it and she freaking can't stand it. But try it. Just start speaking random positivity into your day every single day and start seeing
Get some altitude, right? Change your mindset, right?
Yeah, change your mindset. You'll change your playground, folks.
That's good.
What you got going, Evan? You got any saved rounds?
That's good. I like just the simplest thing keeps coming to mind, but like you're talking about like some big profound things, but in the most simple form. You referenced like scripture earlier, but it's like address the plank in your eye before the speck in someone else's, right? It's like focus first here and then there. And I think that's kind of the takeaway for me.
Well, because it's worked for thousands of years.
Yeah.
Right. That's why
it's shared for a reason, right?
That's why it's out there. I mean, that's why there's so many books written, but oftentimes as a society, we get caught. Man,
yeah.
These blinders on.
We're tunneling.
You're right. So I was reading this book called Think 5 Steps Ahead. And it did this little diagram. I wish I could pull it up, but we're essentially 4 levels of life that we essentially start out. One is survival. That's when we need to live. That's when we're living paycheck to paycheck. I just want to eat. I just want to keep the lights on. We're in survival mode. Essentially, you're in survival mode, right?
Yeah.
And then once you get past survival mode, we go into comfort mode, right? I can pay my bills. I can take my wife out on one date night per month. If I do X, Y, and Z, you're comfortable, right? You can Netflix and chill. Well, then all of a sudden, the person across the street pulls in with a brand new whatever. And you're like, oh, I would like a brand new whatever. And so you're keeping up with the Joneses level, right? You're envious. You want more. You want more. You got tired of being comfortable.
Yeah.
Right. You got tired of seeing other people get ahead in life. And then you get to the Joneses, right? You now become the Joan. You're no longer jonesing for the Joneses. Okay. See what I did there? So at any rate, you get into that level of life. And I think that's kind of where I've been at, right? And now I'm at a different plateau, and it's okay to want what other people have. Otherwise, we don't have what we can't see what we want, right? If it wasn't for the guy driving the brand new truck down the driveway, I would have never wanted a brand new truck, right? If I didn't want, you know what I mean? We want what we want, and that puts you in that level of life. But it's important that we don't get stuck there, because some of the wants you may think you want, but you don't really know.
Yeah.
Right. And you start chasing the wrong things and become envious and coveting things we're not supposed to covet. But we're supposed to take that portion of life to launch us into helping us to find our purpose.
That's right. You can use that as fuel
to get to what our purpose is.
Right. You can use that as fuel. I will share with y'all that I have a goal to own a Ford GT40, the one that won Le Mans in '65. That's a goal. I'm going to own one.
What is that, a car?
It's a really, really fast and really dangerous car.
Is that the one that Matt Damon drove?
Yeah,
that's the Mustang or the Ferrari.
That's the Ford GT.
The Shelby.
Right. So that car,
$500,000,
something like that, and the thing about it is, I use that as fuel. It's really not the fact that look, man, let's face it. I'm not a good enough driver to drive that car. I'm just
I thought
not.
you were just going to put it in your driveway.
You're right. I mean, and again, but it's the same thing with Gary Vaynerchuk and his desire to own the jets. Yeah. It's the chase.
Yes.
It's the chase, right? He uses the jets to fuel his passion for ethical, honest service in what he's going to exchange with the world for the resources he needs to chase his dream to own the New York Jets. And whatever it is, you can use it as fuel. The new truck.
Like, I want a jet.
The Gucci handbag. I want a jet.
I want a jet. And so I'm letting everybody out there know
I can
want
make
a
sense
jet,
of a jet.
and I'm going to get a jet, because the fact remains is I know enough people that live in the places I want to visit. And guess who gets invited to those places?
People with jets.
The guy that has the jet.
Right on.
Hello. So
Doc Force One.
Hello. Come on. So we're getting
PBA Force One.
We're getting a jet. Rochelle, if you're listening out there, we're getting a jet. I was talking to my lawyer. He said I could do it.
Yeah, we should do it. It's a write-off.
It's a write-off. It's whatever, tax deduction. And we need it.
I can make sense of it. I need a jet. Let's talk it out. Evan?
Yeah, get a jet.
Emotions. Okay, we got a motion over here.
Here.
All right, jet's happening.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
PBA Force One.
We'll have a landing strip in no time.
Hey, man, Rockwall Airport.
Rockwall Airport. Be careful with your knife hand. Okay, you just turned me up. What time are we at?
1905, man.
1905.
Top of the hour. Thank y'all.
Hey,
what a great episode.
Outstanding episode. Evan, thanks for filling in.
Anytime.
Casey, as always, dropping great knowledge bombs. If you like what you've heard, please like, share, tell your friends, family about us.
We're on Spotify,
YouTube.
We're on iTunes,
TikTok,
podcasts,
MySpace.
Maximize Media. Maximize Media still uses MySpace.
I don't look me up.
That's
I'm not
fun. Where you have to get the codes and the software, and you have to copy it all and try to shove it in a box, and the box always went upside down.
I was such a tool in high school, so don't find me on MySpace.
MySpace isn't real.
Is it still out there?
I hope not.
It is. It has to be. It's
I
MySpace.
was such a tool.
It was hard for me, so I didn't have one because I couldn't figure it out. I was like, I don't get it. How do all these X's and O's make a unicorn? My brain hurt. So I just went to across the street and smoked a bowl. Like, they're the unicorns. They're the unicorns.
We're still live, so
it's okay. It's legal. And in high school, it wasn't, but whatever. Hey, thanks again for tuning in. We appreciate it. Just hit the end broadcast and we'll end and we'll get on about our evenings.